The deer season's wrapped up in Nebraska, and Game and Parks is analyzing the year's harvest numbers to gain some valuable information on the population in the Cornhusker state. Game and Parks Big Game Program Manager Luke Meduna says hunter success rates gradually increased from the year before. The most notable increases came in western Nebraska, where mule deer harvest numbers were up despite permit reductions.
The harvest data at this point tells us that we're starting to turn the corner and starting to see some response from those reduced permits we've had the last few years.
As for whitetail, numbers went down, but by less than in recent years. Areas hit the hardest once again were northeast Nebraska. Meduna says this is due largely in part to severe drought, which led to increases in EHD. That's a viral infection that's often fatal for deer. Meanwhile, numbers in areas like southeast Nebraska remain consistent to recent years, and overall, Meduna says this year's data is generally positive.
That response in the mule deer and the response we've seen in the whitetail looks like that curve or that trend is starting to swing on that upward side on the whitetail side. So it's good news. It's more on the silver lining kind of side of good news than it is just blatant, hooray, this is going great. But we still got some room to turn things around.
And finally, the marriage between Wahlburgers and Hy-Vee is coming to an end, and fairly suddenly. The restaurant chain closing locations across Nebraska and the Midwest as the grocery store will revert back to its old Market Grill, owned and operated by the store. Hy-Vee says the Market Grill will be back beginning February 4th. Not only are they replacing the burger joint with their original restaurant, they're also expanding the hours and the menu. 13 Hy-Vee stores in Nebraska had Wahlburgers. An effort to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, a central Nebraska city forming a partnership with an out-of-state company to make its landfill more efficient. Ryan Valenta has more.
The city of Hastings is continuing the process in forming a partnership with a gas company to reduce its landfill emissions in what can be called a win-win situation for both sides. The Chicago-based company New Carbon is in the process of developing a system that will capture methane emissions from the Hastings landfill and convert it into renewable natural gas.
Our purpose for being is to reduce the life cycle carbon intensity of operations for our ag and industrial customers throughout the Midwest.
It's not a well-kept secret. Landfills stink. Remnants of scraps, trash, and waste decay in landfills and produce odors, which is partially from methane, a greenhouse gas. While it's almost impossible to prevent methane from being produced from waste products, New Carbon is offering an effective solution to mitigate those emissions at the city landfill in Hastings.
What we're looking to do is to build a landfill gas collection system on the city of Hastings municipal landfill and essentially collect the biogas and install an upgrading system to upgrade that biogas into pipeline quality natural gas.
The process takes the trash that's already in the landfill and captures the methane gases, which after being treated are exported to an already existing natural gas line less than a mile away to the north. The city's environmental director says there's no danger in methane levels at the landfill right now, and the partnership is more of a proactive approach for the future with an expansion on the horizon.
Right now we are meeting the statutory limits on how much, so we don't need to remove it today. But as we start filling up the landfill, then there's more material to generate more methane, as well as just looking down the road, with the landfill expansion, there's going to be more cells out there. We're going to have a landfill there for the next 30 or 40 years easily.
The win-win plan for both parties is for the emission capture system to be built on this land here that the city bought from the state last year. New Carbon will build and pay for the equipment, installation, and maintenance, leaving no cost to the city of Hastings. New Carbon is currently in the early stages of engineering the system and will begin construction in 2027 with an expected completion date of 2029.
While Lammers and New Carbon still have several years to go in the development process, the city of Hastings will see and smell the benefits at no cost to them. Reporting in Hastings, Ryan Valenta, News Channel, Nebraska.
And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com. Click on the news tab there. You can also follow us on X, Like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. You're watching News Channel Nebraska.